So let's talk art materials. Seeing as you asked, I am getting a lot of questions again about art materials, so I thought I'd dive in, and I'm going to start with this one. Bit of a wild card, this one. How about this? This is a biro. Yeah? Familiar with these? Ballpoint pen, biro. The biro is a much underrated tool in art, let me tell you. Not by some people. Some people know exactly what this thing can do. This is really... It's such an impressive tool, I can't tell you. And this is the reason why. It's got a very, very controlled ink flow. So, for instance, observe. You can do a nice fat line like that. You notice I've gone over that a few times. You get a nice sort of black opacity there. Look at that. Look how black that is. Black and beautiful. Or, if I hold it nice and lightly, I get a sort of grey look there. This means that the art you can do with this stuff is incredible. I used to work with ballpoints all the time in the olden days. And the line, I mean, just to give you an idea, look at this. That's the variation of line you can get on that, fading away to nothing. That, it's almost like a pencil, except it's in ink, so it's permanent. It's fantastic. Instantly dries, so you don't have to worry about smudging, stuff like that. Ballpoint pens are just brilliant. I can't rave about them enough. I haven't drawn ballpoint for a while. Reason being, I used to do a lot of sketch work, used to do a lot of portrait work with them. Used to do a lot of graph work. The only problem is, obviously, it's a very, very thin pen. So if you're doing like big fat lines on stuff, you're having to do this all the time. You know, you're having to endlessly go over, you know, and go over and go over and go over. And it takes a long time, particularly if you're plotting your thin lines, then you're thickening lines, changing line weight, all that. It can be a very laborious task, but trust me, if you can master one of these, you can do some amazing art with them. Really amazing. So that's where we're kicking off. What do I use mostly nowadays, though? Mostly nowadays. Let's start with pencils. I use a mechanical pencil like this. Rotring, it takes 0.5 leads in the end, which are thin leads. Some people prefer the big lead holders with the big fat leads on them. I've never got round to actually getting one, to be honest, so I can't comment. But this one, I like it very much. Gives me a nice line. It's not too fine, it's not too fat. And also these ones, I think these are like I think these leads that I've got are HBs, but obviously you can get anything. So look, yeah, these leads I've got are HB. I've got some Faber-Castells somewhere as well. I've temporarily mislaid them. Oh no, hang on, there they are. There they are, yeah. So Faber-Castells there, and they too are HB. HB is your classic, you know, just standard hard black. If you want to get lighter, anybody who doesn't know about pencils and graphite, if you want to get lighter lines, you want to go harder on the graphite. So you want your 2H, your 3H, your 4H, goes right up to 9. And if you want a blacker line, then you need to go further into the Bs, the 2B, the 3B, the 4B. Be warned though, the softer you get, you go through the pencils a lot more because you burn through the graphite. Big soft pencils are beautiful for certain work. I don't really work in graphite or anything like that because my work is mostly graphic, so we don't use that sort of big shady stuff very often. But yeah, you will burn through soft lead much quicker. So that's the pencil. Mechanical pencil. The reason mechanical pencil is because if you get pencils that need sharpening all the time, you do a big sketch, it gets very tedious. You know, you just want to be able to pop it like that and get on with it, because you know lead does break and does wear down, obviously. We talked about pencils, so let's talk about erasers. First of all, you want one of these. And this is it's one of them, you know. So again, this is for precision If I wanted to do, you know, just rub a little bit out there, a little bit out there. It's for precision rubbing out this sort of stuff. So you want one of them, because what you don't want to do is have a big fat eraser that you're trying to get, you know, some detail rubbed out, and you end up rubbing a load of stuff out that you don't want to rub out. It's murder. So you want one of them, or even one of these. This is brilliant. I've not been able to find another one of these. I've got to find another. It's got two ends on it, obviously. This is a softer end. This is a harder end. And that's even more precision work. So you can get into much tighter spots with that. It's really great there. Must get another one. As you can see, I ain't got much left. So, yeah, must get another. So this is a very, very good one for the precision stuff as well. But you also need one of these, because you're going to need to do a lot of getting rid of pencil lines. And for that, you don't want to be going on with this, because A, it'll wear out your rubber in there. It'll wear down all the rubber. I had another one for that. Oh yeah, B, it'll take you ages. Get a big fat one like that, and you'll just blitz it. So you want two kinds of erasers, a precision eraser and a massive blitz everything eraser. Next up, for your fat black lines, you want one of these. These are just gorgeous. I love these. Absolutely love them. This is a Pigma graphic, and it is a #1. And think about these, right? You get a nice varied line on this, potentially. So you get some nice slender lines on it, or you can get some fatter lines on it, because at the end can get a little bit, once it's softened up, gets a little bit like, it's like a bit like a hard brush, if you like. Somebody once said they sort of go like a bit of a floppy rag if you use them a lot, and they do. Eventually they knacker. Also, they will run out of ink, and once they start to run out of ink, you've got to scrap them, because they're mostly used for outlining. And what you don't want is, you don't want a patchy outline on your letters or your character or anything like that in graphic work. It looks shonky. It doesn't look good at all. Shonky, that's a good word, isn't it? This one might give you, yeah, see, this one is not good. See the quality of line that's putting out? That ain't good enough. If I try and do a line like that, I'm gonna have to go over that line again and again. It's not good. I keep that around because I just do a bit of filling with it every so often, because it will still do a bit of black fill like that. But after it can't do black fill, then it's really dead. You've got to chuck it in the bin. Having said that, I'm looking at like 20 right in front of me now. I still keep around for the fill, but that's because I'm tight. Anyway, next up. These are Staedtler pigment liners. This is for your fine line work. Now this one, this is a 0.4. And you can see you can still get nice fine lines with that. Is it a 0.4? I'm pretty sure it's a 0.4. Yeah, it's 0.4. Now, I do go finer than that. I use a 0.3 as well. That's a 0.3. You can see how fine these lines are, though. You certainly don't need to, well, I'm not going to lecture to you about what you need, but I don't go lower than a 0.3, because lower than a 0.3, really, the lines are starting to vanish. And in graphic work, you know, you're gonna need something fatter than that. So I've even got somewhere around, lying around somewhere. Don't know where it is. Oh, there you go. There's a 0.5. Although I think they do bust up, these ones. But there you go. That's a bit, you can see it's a bit fatter. But again, these ones, the nibs on them start to shape after a while. And that's good. That's nice. Because you'll kind of go, oh yeah, great, I recognise the shape of it, I know how to get certain kinds of lines and all that, and then eventually the whole thing will bust and split and just not work properly, and then you'll be gutted. So just beware. But that's with any fine liner like these, that, you know, you're gonna go through them if you use a lot. These ones are my favourites though. and I've used a lot. I've used microns as well, but I prefer these to microns. I find these are more robust than microns, just to let you know. So anything else to say about that? Not really. I think that's it. Yeah, so using these in conjunction with these, it's the best match I've found in 20 odd years, to give you an idea. So so that's my endorsement. Next up, we want to slap a bit of colour on, right? Style file markers. Double-headed marker, big fat one this end. And a thin one this end. They come in a variety of colours. They've got a nice colour range, style file. It's not massive, but it's big enough. Big enough for me. I've got all of them. These are the cool grey range. They do a neutral grey and a warm grey as well, and they do lots of other colours. If you want a bigger colour range, then Copics are probably the best way to go, but they are super expensive, let me tell you. They are massively expensive. I looked at buying a full range one time, and I was quoted 1,700 quid, which in dollars is about $2,200, I think it is. Maybe $2,300, something like that. It's pricey, really pricey. And you better be sure you're going to use them and use them well if you're going to spend that kind of money. I mean, if you've got that kind of money, then just get some Copics, frankly, because they're still the best marker out there. They're amazing. These alcohol-based markers, the beauty of these markers is you can blend them. You see the lines that I've done there? You can double pigment them, so you can go over them again. You can triple pigment them, so you can go over them again. See where I'm going with this? The more pigment you lay on, the darker they get. So they're a thing of beauty. They are an amazing colouring tool, these markers. If you don't fancy lashing out, you can get lots of cheap ones. They'll probably run out very quick, but you get them off Amazon, get some cheap ones. Pro markers are cheaper. They're still quite nice ones though, pro markers. They're still professional markers. They're still professional quality. They're probably I think in my experience, they're the cheapest professional quality alcohol marker, the pro marker. You get touch markers as well. To be honest, there's loads of different brands. Loads of different. I've got some nice ones that Chris Delaney bought me recently, which are these ones, the 94s. These alcohol markers as well. Very lovely. Style File also do them in a brush marker, which these are neutral greys, brush markers. So I'll just give you a bit of one of them so you can see that. So on this one, you've got the fat end like that, but this end is a beautiful brush. So you can do some amazing, I mean, look at that. All kind of if this is your thing to do a sort of variation line, then you'll absolutely love these. They're not exactly my cup of tea, to be honest, but they're really good. And I've still used them on pieces, and they're very impressive. It's like using a paintbrush. And if you like using paintbrushes, which I don't particularly, I tend to press too hard to use brush markers. That's the thing, really. Anyway, that's your alcohol marker. Now you want a nice thin one as well, nice fine line, and for that you're going to need these ones. These are Stabilo 0.88s, and they're fantastic fine liners. You can get them in great big packets. Again, recently Chris Delaney bought me these ones, and you can see that's the full colour range. So you got your fluoros there, and then you got this beautiful colour grading, and trust me, that's more colours than you will need. They're really fantastic. They are prone to busting. You've got to be quite gentle with them. Don't push too hard, otherwise they will split and they will break. And if you don't have a replacement in the middle of your piece, you'll be very upset. It's happened to me before. Gutted. But these are fantastic. They'll give, again, you know, they give a really beautiful line. Really gorgeous lines with these ones. You can see that. It's lovely. We can do it. I don't want to push too hard, but there you go. You can get a slightly fatter one as well. Really nice tool. Get some in your armoury. Next up, let's touch on paint markers. I'm not going to go massively extensive here, but I'll give you a quick idea. First of all, let's talk about molotovs. This is your standard molotov. They used to call this the 127HS. I think it's just called they just call them one for alls now. I think they're all called one for alls now. I mean, they must have a model number, right? I don't know. Anyway, if you look up here on the got my good glasses on. There you go. If you always look up here on the sticker, it will tell you what the colour is actually called. This is a zinc yellow, which is probably my favourite colour in the molotovs. It's absolutely beautiful. It's got a fantastic valve. You need to give it a good old shake first. Make sure it's nice and viscous in there. Do not start smashing the nib about because it's quite delicate. Just a warning. There you go. Hold it in for a little bit, and then you've got some beautiful colour. There you go. It will block out nicely. Opacity varies depending on colour. Now you can see that is absolutely opaque on white, but let me tell you, try and put that colour on black, you need about 4 coats. Trust me, I've done it. That's not a bad thing, by the way. You know, it is what it is. Some of them cover, like, you know, purple will cover black in 1 coat, no problem. But yellow, you'll need about 4 coats. But that varies from colour to colour. Now, this is the classic one, the classic Molotov. This is the double header Molotov with the zinc yellow. It's got the nice, this is a slightly thinner nib than this one actually. There, and a big fat one there. Great for fills. Great for fills. This one's nearly empty actually. They are refillable as well. You get refills for them. Like this. And the beauty of these things as well, let me tell you, is you can actually, if you want to get messy, you can use these straight on the canvas, straight on your surface. As you can see, they chuck it about, so you can't be afraid to get a bit messy if you're going to use them like that. But I have used them like that because I do like to get messy. But you can refill these ones from this. So that's your Molotov. Molotovs also do. I'll just quickly show you. They do these ones and all. These are pastels, and these are not double enders. These are just single enders. But they do all the pastel shades. They're a very beautiful thing. Expensive, mind. They are pricey. But if you want a really good paint marker that covers very well, has an excellent valve, the Molotovs are definitely worth your money. Definitely worth your time and money. On to the posca. Now, poscas come in lots of different sizes. This is the thinnest one. I won't bother showing you the rest. I'll just let you know that they do come fatter than this. Posca have been in the game for a very long time and for a very good reason. They are super reliable. They do a beautiful line. There you go. They cover incredibly well. There you go. This one that I've got here is one of my outlining pens. Great opacity on purple as well. Very opaque. They do one up from this, which is a slightly thicker one. They do one up from that, which is a thicker one again. And then they do big fat ones, which are basically tagging markers. You know, that's what they are really. They're not really your drawing markers. They do a super fat as well, which is about the size of an Edding 850. For those of you who are well versed in this sort of stuff, and it's a tagging marker. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not an art marker. So that's your posca. Finally, pencils. The pencil is a much underrated weapon in the armoury. It's you can see I've used quite a bit of mine. I mean, these are pretty good though. Bear in mind, these ones, so what you want is you want a soft pencil. Soft pencils are amazing. Colour pencils. You want them nice and soft because you want a nice grade. I'll show you what I mean in a minute by that. You want a nice grade, and you want to be able to smudge it, basically. You want to be able to smudge it and muck about with it, because from a distance, when you smudge pencil, it looks a bit like spray paint. And people have said to me before, how are you getting those effects on your... It looks like you've used an airbrush or something. No, I've used pencils and I've smudged them with my finger. That's literally what I've done. So let me just blitz that. You can see how long the drying time is on this, by the way. Drying times will absolutely drive you mad using paint markers, but the result is always worth it. Okay, what should I use? I'll use a red to show you. I'm going to sharpen this. Nice double sharpener there. One for colour, one for graphite. Not that I use graphite much. I've got the dog around me feet. He wants his dinner. Hang on, son. Wait, just wait a minute. So with a pencil like this good. This is a super soft pencil. These are Swiss-made Caran d'Ache pencils. They're some of the best in the world. Again, they're quite expensive, but you only need this many because this will sort of cover your colours, and I'll show you for why. The grade on them is really, really nice. So that's a nice fat line, isn't it? Nice fat sort of bold red line. Nice sort of, what would you call that? It's a sort of scarlet, really, isn't it? It's like a scarlet. But that line is much lighter. That one lighter still. There you go. Just sort of tapers away. So to give you an idea of the full grade, if I can, you can grade these using a lightness of touch that will take you right through to barely touching the paper. Really lovely effect. And then on top of all that, you can give it a nice big smudge and you get great effects this way. See the possibilities in that? They are so good, man. You've got to get yourself some of these. Get yourself some of these pencils. These ones are the Caran d'Ache, what are they called? Super Soft, is it? Super Colour Soft, these ones. And like I say, this is a 12. I think these, to give you an idea, I think these are about nearly £40 for a set of 12. And I slightly kind of went, why? And then you realise that because they're all the colours that you need. You won't need any more than that. I've used these set of colours the whole time. You know, in all honesty, I need to get a darker green because that green is not quite dark enough for some of the stuff I need. That's about it, really. That's about it. The rest work perfectly. They're fantastic. So, and they work, by the way, they work all surfaces. I've worked these on canvas as well because they're soft enough to use on canvas. And they've got a great sort of fixability as well. A nice, what's the word? They're archival. That's the word I'm looking for. Just as a bonus, just to let you know the sort of paper I use this one. Daler-Rowney. If I'm using pieces for commission pieces, like sort of posh commission pieces, or like something that's got to go, something that I know is going to go in a frame in a gallery, something like that. I want a nice quality paper. This is a smooth heavyweight. There's no real tooth in it, which is quite nice to work on if you're working in black ink and stuff. 220 GM squared there, £135 paper. This one's A4. So that's it in mil, and that's it in inches. That cost me £8.25 when I bought it. It's about £10 now. About £10, which is what, about $30.50 if you're in the States. And I love this paper. It's really, really beautiful paper. no complaints from customers with this paper. So there you go, chaps. I know I've done material stuff before, and I will probably do one again at some point, because people do ask and they want to know, and it's information, and I need you to know what you're doing. So so there you go. Any questions, slap them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them.